Welcome to Just Minding My Business Media, where you get information that you can use. I'm your host, Ida Crawford. But before we dive in, subscribe to Just Minding My Business on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. Share Just Minding My Business with your family, friends, and colleagues. Engage with us by leaving a review or comment. Your support keeps this podcast going and growing. Visit our website at jmmbmediallc.com to learn how we can support you in getting more visibility on your products and services. So grab a pen and paper and get ready for information that you can use. Well, I am so happy to welcome today Lauren Shippy, who is an entrepreneur with a background in operations, marketing, and strategy, driving results and mapping out a path forward for many organizations. Lauren has worked for multiple startups over the years, assuming the role of COO early in her career. Lauren co-founded a family investment office out of Philadelphia, just was that DeSimone Group?
DeSimone, yep.
Okay, DeSimone Group Investments in 2012, which allowed her to be a part of building, evaluating, and consulting with startups across multiple sectors. Lauren now practices doing what she loves every day, providing strategy to companies of all sizes through StoryWork, her own consulting agency. Founded in 2016. Lauren is also the co-founder of the Marketing Engine, which she leads with Boen Roberts and Rachel Addington. Additionally, Lauren loves to share her thought leadership through the Strategy Game podcast, and most recently authored her first book, Seen, Known, and Heard, which is coming soon. Wow. Have you been busy?
Oh, thanks for having me. I'm excited for this chat.
Yes, absolutely. Wow. So what made you, I gotta ask, what made you move into this area?
Oh, wow. I think it was like any entrepreneur, it's not been a straight journey. It's been like a long, winding road. And so my family was in the automotive industry growing up, and we had a family business. And I was planning on going into that business, but we decided to sell it in 2008 as everything was crashing. And so plans changed. And so my life just really took a turn. And I kind of started with a blank slate. And I had an opportunity from a mentor who I'd grown up with. He was a serial entrepreneur, and he had just started a real estate investment trust and said, "Hey, do you want to come work for me?" And I thought, well, I guess so, because I don't have a job and I need one now. And so I started working for him, and I started just making cold calls and designing flyers, and figuring out where we could pass those flyers out, and working with property managers of manufactured housing communities, and learned all kinds of new things, and just really was a sponge and just kind of did whatever he told me to do. And I worked my way up into operations, and ultimately when I left that company, I was acting COO. So, it's just a journey. It's been a winding road.
Yeah, and you just sometimes never know where you're gonna fall.
That's the truth. I mean, I would say you just kind of have to be ready for anything. I think it's flexibility and ability to pivot when you need to, because oftentimes the things you say you'll never end up doing are the things that you end up doing.
Yes, absolutely. So never say never.
That's right. That's for
Uh,
sure.
Well, marketing, that is always a hot topic for entrepreneurs and business owners, getting that marketing information in the right hands that's going to turn into a customer.
Yeah.
So, what moves the needle in marketing today?
Oh, that's a great question. I've been talking about this quite a bit recently because of the really the birth of AI and the use of it everywhere. And so, I think it's great because it allows business owners and entrepreneurs and marketing agencies to generate content really quickly. So you can generate a lot of social media posts. You can generate
Mhm.
hundreds of blogs in moments, right? That can boost your SEO rankings. But I really think, and all that's great and that's good to do. But I think also what's going to move the needle is taking that free time that you have now because you've generated all that AI content pretty quickly and putting that into being a little bit more still and reflective and able to tell your story and to really connect with your audience in a genuine way to make them feel seen, known, and heard, right? And valued. And I think that's ultimately what's going to move the needle. So it's not complicated. It's not like a complex strategy, but I do think it's really hard for people to practice because, sometimes you're just trying to make it all happen and it's easier to just knock tasks out. Whereas
Mhm.
this work requires a little bit more just stillness and reflection, which I think is harder to come by in our world
Yes,
today.
I think so. Everybody is rehearsing, which, I feel like authenticity is the most important thing,
Yeah.
because people want to feel you. They want to feel who you are. And then once they feel who you are, then it's like, okay, what you got?
Yeah, then they're like, okay, let me consider what you actually have to offer. But before that, they're really not interested. You don't stand out from anybody else, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. You hit it right on the nose.
yeah.
Okay, so a lot of times, um, people get stuck sometime in their business, um, not knowing which way to go. I want to say they become stagnated at a particular place. How do
Mhm.
you move forward, not only in your business, but also in your life?
Oh, yes. Okay, so that's a good one. And I feel like throughout the journey of life and of business, this will probably be a cycle, right? I mean, I can think back of many times where I was about to go through a transition or I was realizing that one opportunity was coming to a close and not knowing the direction to go next. And I think there's just a couple things that apply to both life and business. I think it's when you sense a change coming, it's being self-aware and looking around a little bit.
Mhm.
So those seasons require number one, just self-awareness to notice, to feel, to sense that a change is coming,
Mhm.
right?
Yes.
Um, because you don't want to be out of tune, so to speak, like an out of tune piano, right? You want to make sure that you're in tune with what's happening. And then I think it's really looking around. So number two would be looking around and being alert and aware
Hmm.
of opportunities in your environment. Like, who have I developed good relationships with recently? Or, what maybe companies or brands or personal relationships am I wanting to pour into a little bit more? So it may not be that you get necessarily a direct answer if you're feeling stuck, but you might notice some things, some action steps that you can take
Hmm.
to open up the door. And then I think just even gathering and then having conversations with others that you trust and that have poured into you or seem to have a lot of wisdom can really help you get unstuck, so to speak, to get out of that funk. Because I think when we're by ourselves, we can kind of get tunnel vision or we can get in a silo. And so those three things I think would be great. Like just make sure that you're sensing your season, that you're pausing to look around and be alert and aware,
Hmm.
and then have conversations, like gather around the table.
Yes, absolutely. So story work. So how do you support people with their marketing and leadership strategy service stuff?
Yeah, so StoryWork has been so much fun. After working for a bunch of different companies over the years, I just decided 7 years ago that I really wanted to start consulting to be able to help small and medium-sized businesses. And we've worked with some larger brands. And we've also worked with nonprofits, which I really love. And I think the common theme, we help them in 3 different ways. We help them with strategy, which is, okay, let's make sure you get your offerings right and like your positioning in the market.
Mhm.
Leadership, let's make sure you understand your why you're doing this and how to tell that story, and your vision and mission and values. And then your marketing. So how do you let people know? And more than that, how do you not push something on them? How do you actually see, know, and hear them to have an authentic connection with them? So that's really what we help people do. And at the core of all of that is what I call identity-based strategy. And identity-based strategy is really what the book is about. It's about seeing and hearing and knowing people first, so that you can, and knowing yourself first, so that you can tell your story in a real way, and you can also connect with them in a real way.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And to me, that makes a genuine relationship.
Yes.
And when you can bring you into the mix and also realize the other person is also part of the equation.
So true. I mean, it is a dialogue, and I know that we do a lot online now, right? And we have a lot of digital transactions and interactions, but I still think that it's so possible through video, through things like this, through different ways, even the language that you use to communicate your authentic connection.
That is so, so, so important. Wow. This
Yeah.
this is right on time, Lauren. I
I'm so
love it.
glad.
I love it. So, people leadership. Let's talk a little bit about leadership. Um, some people think they are leaders, but what defines a good leader?
Oh, that's a great question. There are a lot of things, right, that define a good leader, but to be honest, the one that comes to mind the most is humility. Just being humble to realize that there's always a lot to learn and a lot to take in.
Mm-hmm.
And I think to humble yourself in the moments where you're wrong or you mess up and take ownership of it, I think people really tend to trust a leader that will do that. And I also think humility is just it's a heart posture that can be translated into a whole organizational culture. Because if the leadership team assumes that posture of like, we don't know what we don't know, like we're always learning, but yet we're still walking confidently. Humility doesn't mean that you can't walk confidently.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think that ultimately that culture spreads throughout the organization. And there is so much room then for innovation, for growth, because it creates a safe space to ask questions, to have maybe otherwise harder conversations.
Mm-hmm.
But when people feel safe, they will open up more. And when people
Yes.
open up more ideas can be shared. And that ultimately is what creates the most beautiful thing, is when people can gather together and really freely exchange ideas and work through things and come to outcomes and make changes.
Absolutely. And how do you support organizations to achieve that culture? Because it's easier said than done when you have not been doing it.
It really is. Well, part of the outline or the blueprint for this is in the book, Seen, Known, and Heard. And I've also developed a workbook that goes with it. And that workbook is really a tool that I really developed having teams in mind. And so that's just a process that looks at what I call the weeds in the way. And that helps teams look at all of the things that could be a detriment or could hold them back. I mean, we're talking things like stubbornness, assumptions and judgments, pride, all the ugly stuff that we all face all the time, right? But if we can identify it and get it out on the table, then that opens things up, like that opens people's heart posture to be able to do the work and pull together in a leadership workshop style, people from all different departments coming together to then exchange ideas. So it's a process, and it's really a two-part process. The first part being the individual work, going through the weeds in the way, what we call the weeds in the way. And then the second part being, hey, now let's come to the table together and let's talk about solutions to work this out.
Yes, absolutely. So when is the book going to be available?
I wish I knew that question. Uh, it's been a several year journey. Definitely, definitely not for the faint of heart, but so worth it. And I hope within this next year in 2024, it's with a publisher right now, and the final edits are being made. So yeah, we're hoping.
Okay, we'll definitely reach out when it hits so we can definitely revisit and get that book out because, people, today marketing and business has changed, oh,
Mhm.
dramatically,
Yeah,
and a lot of the older companies may have a more difficult time of making that switch.
so true.
And, what can you do with those, I'll say, stubborn
Mhm.
companies? How do you work with the stubborn ones, the ones that set in their ways, so to speak? We've been doing this for 99 years, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's a great question. I've actually been working with some companies that are going through a generational transition. And I think this is happening a lot right now in particular. And been working with some of the older generation and the new incoming generation. And I think it really starts with gathering around the table and
Hmm.
really facilitating that conversation and more learning about their story. So starting with their story and where they came from. What has your journey looked like? Like what have the challenges been? When have been the times that you've almost lost the business, or it's been really scary, or you didn't know the way forward? And how did you handle that? And it's really drawing out those themes in their life to be able to speak to that and say, hey, I can understand that if that was an issue for you then, that you're going to be pretty afraid of change now, right? So it's really identifying the root of what is creating either fear or resistance, or right, that stubbornness, or that holding on to. And then it's talking through that and saying, hey, there's actually a win-win here. There's a way to preserve the legacy and what has been created and built, but there's also a way to bring in the new, and actually the combination of the two is the best solution. It doesn't happen overnight. This is just a process, and it's all about building the relationship, that personal connection with the leadership team.
Yes. Wow. You just put that together so nicely.
Thank you.
So nicely. Wow. So if companies want to work with you, how do they do so?
Yeah, absolutely. They can just email me directly. My email is Lauren, Lauren, at storywork.co, or just head to my website, www.storywork.co. And you can set up a call there, email me, chat on the site, all that good stuff. And our team would be happy to connect with you and help.
Yes. So talk a little bit about your podcast.
Oh, yes, that's so fun. I started that, let's see, a couple years ago now. I think it was still during COVID. Um, and I don't know, it just came to me. I thought, well, I created an e-course called the Strategy Masterclass, and then I wanted to be able to talk about the different parts of the Strategy Masterclass. And so I thought, I'm just going to get myself a microphone and start this thing, So I did. I just started recording here in my house, and it's just been a great experience. I think for me it has been a really great way to work through my thoughts out loud, and also to genuinely connect with others, because they hear me just talking and just working things out, and it invites them to be a part of the story. So there's different there are different themes for different seasons, and right now we're working through all of the themes within the See, Known, and Heard framework. But then we also have a leadership series coming up in season 7 that I'm really excited about, where it's not just going to be me talking. I'm going to be interviewing some leaders in our circle that are pretty incredible. So I'm really pumped about that.
Okay, and what days does that normally air?
Usually publishes every other Thursday, so it's bi-weekly.
Okay. And how can we listen?
So anywhere podcasts are found, you can
Okay.
just search Strategy Game with Lauren Shippey.
Oh, okay. Okay. I'm definitely gonna look it up for sure.
Yes,
For
good.
sure. Wow, we covered quite a gamut of things. Let's talk a little bit about the word of mouth strategy because everybody is digital now, but it's important to create that word of mouth. That never goes out of style. It's pretty much the foundation of people finding your business.
Yep, that's right. Yeah, and this is one of my favorite things to talk about because we, as part of our strategy package, we generate what we call a journey map. And this is just basically your entire customer journey from the time that that they hear about your brand to the time that they hopefully become an advocate and spread the word about your brand, right? So it walks through every single step, like when they're evaluating you, when they find you, when they're going to your website or checking out your social media, to when they maybe download one of your lead generators or start receiving emails, and then what actually prompts them to reach out to actually connect with you, and then what prompts them to actually buy, right? There's a whole journey there.
Wow.
And what we want to do is make sure that it's a seamless journey, that it's all connected. So in our marketing agency, we really focus on making sure that all of the dots are connected and that it resonates with what we call the user personas, which are the people that you serve. So
Hmm.
that's a whole journey, right, in itself. But what's so great about that is that there's what we call moments of delight. So we strive to really help our clients deliver delight. So what would make them smile? What would really make their day? Think of like if you got an email and you opened it and it had actual confetti in it and it was celebrating like you just made your purchase, whatever it was. Or if it's something that, someone, maybe the founder of the company sends a personal email with a video saying, hey, I'm so glad you're here. Let me tell you a little bit of my story and about the brand and why we do what we do. So it's just those moments of what we call delight and connection throughout the customer journey that spur word of mouth strategy. Because if I got that email with confetti in it, you better believe I'd be forwarding that to my friends and saying, look at this, this is so great, it just made my day. Or somebody sends me like a personal email from the founder, I'm going to share that. Or if I go to lunch with my friend, I'm going to talk about that. And
Hmm.
that is the stuff that really generates word of mouth strategy.
Okay, good. And that's really outside of the box for a lot of business owners to like send an email with confetti in it.
Yeah.
So, and I like that because that would make me smile for sure. And so, how do you get business owners to start thinking outside of the box in order to attract more customers?
Yeah, what I would say, and I think we have this on my website. So if you go to storywork.co, there's a bunch of free guides. And one
Okay.
of them is a day in the life guide, and there's also a journey map guide. And they can download that and print it out if you're best at writing. But that will walk you through starting to think through the process of just step into your customer's shoes, or even better, if you have a regular customer that you feel comfortable asking, interview them. It'd be like, tell me about your day. Tell me where you go every day. Tell me when you interact with our brand, what does the process look like for you? And what would really delight you? Like what would be something that we could do within our process that would really make your day, and they're simple things. I mean, maybe it's even something like a free bookmark or a drawing to win a gift card every month, or whatever it looks like. It doesn't have to be a set thing, an email with confetti, just an example. There's a hotel out in California, and it's amazing. It has 5 stars on TripAdvisor, or 4.5. not because it's fancy, because it's not. It actually outperforms the Ritz-Carlton, and it is not a fancy hotel at all. But they have a popsicle hotline, and it's a little phone by the pool. You pick it up anytime, day or night, and it gives you, they will immediately deliver a free popsicle on a silver platter. So that's what I mean with like word of mouth strategy and delight like that. How much do those popsicles cost them every week? Not much, right?
Mhm.
But how much has it gotten them over the years? National recognition.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
A
pretty cool.
simple popsicle.
That's it. Doesn't have to be complicated.
Yeah, so you made me think about an experience I had where somebody that I interviewed mailed me a refrigerator magnet that they had made
Yep.
and thanked me for having them on the show. And that is still on my refrigerator today because it made me feel like what I do matters.
I love that. Yeah. See, you felt like seen or recognized.
Yes, absolutely. So, wow, that's so important to be seen,
Mhm.
heard, and recognized.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
don't think about it like we're talking about it now, which is making it in the forefront. But in our everyday journey, we don't think about it.
Isn't that the truth? Yeah.
Wow, Lauren, this
I
has been
know.
amazing. You have
Well,
brought so
I,
much, so many gems.
this has been so much fun for me. So thanks so much for having me on.
Yeah. So again, how can people connect with you?
Okay, so you can email me, Lauren@storywork.co, or head to www.storywork.co.
Yes. So get on over there, ladies and gentlemen, because this lady is got it going on, and you keep it simple. It's nothing hard.
Mhm.
It's just one of those things we have to be conscious and intentional about.
That's right. Yeah.
That's what it boils down to. And the talk when does your podcast air again?
So podcast is called Strategy Game with Lauren Shippy, and it airs every other Thursday. New episodes come out.
And the book, she's gonna let us know as soon as the book hits.
Yes.
I'm gonna definitely let you guys know because I can't wait. Because these are very simple strategies that you can do to increase your business. And we always want to keep it stupid, keep it simple.
That's right. Yep. Yep. That is exactly right. Yes. Keep it simple. Make your life easier.
Absolutely. So thank you so much, Miss Shippy, for coming by. And we're going to do this again.
Thanks, Ida. Look forward to it.
Absolutely.